Hello, in today's video I'm going to talk about some recent discoveries about TradingView's alert system. Some problems that many people have been experiencing but appear to be very random, or what would seem to be random, but in actuality may not be random at all, but simply not a well-designed system for a larger apparatus such as Jackrabbit. I have XRP loaded at the 1-minute chart on the MACD parabolic SAR recipe. Here is where the alerts are actually placed. But what I am seeing is that the alerts are actually being followed off the wrong module. It's not consistent either, which is the odd part of the entire process. It's rather strange. For example, here are the same recipes showing multiple sell points, but when you look at the trade cycles, they're identical. This recipe is designed to bump the trade cycle every time a legitimate sell takes place. Let's pull up the search results from the sandbox and actually track that down. Okay, here we go. You see that the sells do take place. 8, 9. So this one's valid. This one is a TradingView mess up. This one is a TradingView mess up. This one's valid. This one is a mess up. This one's valid. This one's valid. Mess up. And all the rest of these are just duplicate mess ups. The trade count will always be bumped if it is a legitimate transaction. So this has actually turned out to be an unusual canary, highlighting exactly when TradingView is messing up. So far, I have not seen too many problems outside the 1-minute time frame. Let's search for the 5-minute recipes. And there are a myriad of those. For example, 19 to 20, 4x momentum. Let's hone in on that one. As you can see, the trade count constantly and properly bumps, as it should. So 18, 19, and 20, and 21. So 4 transactions, all legitimate. Let's see if we can find another recipe. Now, while retracements are possible, retracements don't account for the fact that the trade cycle is not bumped. Okay, there's only one there, so let's go back to the 5-minute. And yes, you can search this area extensively like I'm doing to actually try to get confirmation on the efficiency of different recipes. Now I've noticed the 1 minute has the problems, but it seems to be only the 1 minute so far. Although it really is too early to tell, I am carefully watching, and I'm going to let this run in perpetuum to make sure it works the way it should. For example, 35 cycles, 36 cycles. So as you search this area and it builds more history, the 1 minute time frame is definitely a problem. But it's not a consistent problem. For XRP, it definitely appears to be more consistent than what I have seen in other coins. So that brings us to what the next steps are going to be within the modulus framework. Now, I took a poll a few days ago, and overwhelmingly with a 3-to-1 ratio, people asked for a pre-canned series of recipes that can just be made. Here is my test bed that I've been using, the Jackrabbit.SR-ATR-DCA. It's very limited and very, very simplistic in what can be changed. This is the direction I will probably go, as it gives a definitive, easy entry point for an all-in-one recipe to support this kind of a framework. The settings for the ATR and the support and resistance are baked in, meaning they are, in this case, set at 987 and a 10th boundary. But I've also made some definitive decisions about the particular process, and that is I will not support stop loss in these baked in recipes. A stop loss will incur a loss. Because I am not a financial advisor and I am not licensed in finances at all, it becomes very difficult to even recommend such a process, knowingly that the system will incur losses. From the standpoint of the legitimacy of the process, with the dollar cost averaging module, short of a market apocalypse, I know it will always profit. The only question is how long the process will take. So from the metrics of what I will be doing, this will be the blueprint that I follow for making the pre-cooked recipes that can simply be plug and play and place your alerts right on the recipe itself. I will be converting some of my more popular ones over to this format before I begin removing the module's abilities to place alerts independently. All of the analytical modules over time will have the alert condition capabilities removed from them, with the exception of the dollar cost averaging and stop loss modules. They will remain consistent with what they are doing, because they will become the exit point and entry point for the alert system. If you want a stop loss, you will need to use the individual modules linked. If you want a pre-cooked recipe, then they will be set with limited functionality set on dollar cost averaging. Functionality that I believe is the most appropriate and strongest for the market. Guaranteed profit within reason is something that these modules will be capable of doing over the long term. They are not perfect, obviously, but they are better than some of the other limited factors that exist. And one thing that you will notice is that the dollar cost averaging module will always produce a profit higher than the stop loss module. And in this case, this coin trades negative. This is exactly why I will not be baking in a stop loss into the pre-cooked recipes. This one here guarantees significant more ability. And a lot of these recipes only have 1 or 2 entry points per trade cycle. Like this particular one, only 1 entry point. That's it. But the dollar cost averaging acts as a safety barrier against an unpredictable market. And some markets, like March 2020, exhibit exactly that situation. So if we go back to March 2020 and see how this process actually extended, you can see it mitigated its risks fairly quintessentially. It did well, and it did make a profit. This will be the focus of the pre-cooked recipes, so that no matter what time frame you choose, there is an expected layer of consistency that it will always produce. And that is one of the most important factors, in my opinion, for the entire process. A side benefit to this situation is that it will give rather advanced recipe combinations to the entry-level tier of TradingView. And that will be a benefit for beginners looking to get into the crypto market with a very good, high-quality recipe and very little learning involved in the beginning. Something I've thought about quite extensively as more and more nations go back into lockdown, and people are starting to turn to the crypto market in hopes of generating something to survive on. Having this kind of a mechanism is going to be a benefit, I believe, as I have watched scam after scam flood the market, promising beginners thousands of dollars a day. Anybody that has been in a crypto market knows that doesn't happen. So having something like this available with a proven, consistent, reliable, and genuine framework will hopefully get significant amount of traction to help people avoid the scams. And that is going to be a major undertaking that I definitely want to try to accomplish. is to provide some very reliable, high-quality approaches. This is probably one of the strongest. The J-Arling combo is another strong contender that does extremely well. For people that want aggressiveness but still want a hint of defensiveness, there are a myriad of combinations that can be applied. This is one example. Let's see if I can find the four-way moving average. Here we go. Everybody always talks about the trend. This recipe not only talks about the trend, but takes its pulse on 4 different levels, so that the end result is going to be a complete 4-way trend analysis. And it has a proven, stable, and consistent track record, even on the poorest quality of coins. For example, we've already seen how TRX was not that good of a coin. And since I don't have it in my list, we will simply type it in. So even lower quality coins will do well with these pre-cooked recipes. Not that I specifically recommend these coins, because I don't. I don't believe they are good combinations, and the fact that TRX did somehow make it to a 1 billion market cap is, in my opinion, very questionable. So at the 5-minute mark, you're looking at least about $160 for maximum exposure. Good profit, but nonetheless more than what I would be willing to put, even though it does go completely within the trend. So it takes a 2-way trend of XRP at the TRX at the 5-minute and 4-hour mark, and it takes a second trend based upon the entire crypto market, both at the 5-minute and 4-hour mark. So as you can see, using the trend at this level can be aggressive, but still give you some very good profitability. Always be aware of these kinds of combinations, whether you build them yourself or as the pre-cooked recipes occur. They can be very beneficial. For the beginner, this is probably the biggest no-brainer there is. The trend is your friend. Follow the trend. So this gives a rather aggressive standpoint on any time frame and still provides quite reliable and consistent profit. That is a major underpinning that is important. Even at the 1-minute mark, you can see $60 investment, and it's just waiting for the sell signal to come in. And this can bring in a 12% profit. Quite respectable, even for the quality of coin that this is. For those that like to trade Bitcoin, even with its insane pricing right now, you could still get very good quality entries. %7 profit. Now let's go back and look at the March 21st or March 2020 crash, and see just how well the trend works. 17% profit. And as you can see, it does considerably well. So these are situations to think about. You will see this in the sandbox as I've already demonstrated, and I do plan on adding more coins to each recipe for back testing and forward testing analysis. As you can see, this had a significantly deep accumulation. And let's see, is this price or step? Okay, I have this set to price, so it's quite aggressive. So let's set it to step and see how it changes. And as you can see, a lot better, a lot gentler, and the profits are still quite extraordinary. You will be able to make these kind of changes in the pre-cooked version. And a 14% profit with a $100 exposure for maximum of this particular cycle is certainly good. That means it made $14 profit. Of course, nothing beats careful risk assessment and planning, and that is what I'm hoping that the pre-cooked recipes will do, is take the combination, roll it up into one nice neat little bundle, and give you an edge without having to worry about necessarily figuring out all of these crazy numbers. Keep an eye on the sandbox area. Continue to post bug reports about TradingView, but most importantly, be aware that there is definitely signs coming up that TradingView can only handle one module with alerts. It's not consistent, but it's enough of a problem that I am concerned about loss of profits for Jackrabbit subscribers. So you will see changes coming up. You will see more pre-cooked recipes coming out, and you will see the alerts being removed from the analytical modules. Until next time.